So this reflects on the ongoing recognition of Haiti's inability to handle the return of its nationals safely, providing them with legal permission to live and work here temporarily, although it does not give them permanency for residency. They don't get a pathway to becoming citizens.
So obviously, this is about Springfield, Ohio, and there's a group of refugees in that city. Who are they? Why did they arrive? Why are they there? What is their purpose? Who's paying for all of this? And let's find out on today's main segment of the middle ground. So let's get into it. All right. So I think we've got News Nation here that's going to explain.
Been busting asylum seekers to cities like
Awesome.
New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago. And your taxpayer dollars have been helping to pay for some of it. In fact, this is not a new phenomenon. Non-governmental agencies have been busing immigrants from the southern border to across the nation for years. Jorge Ventura has details.
The majority of migrants arriving in cities like New York or smaller towns across America do so by the help of non-governmental organizations, also known as NGOs, organizations like charities or religiously affiliated nonprofits. In the past 2 years, Border Patrol holding stations have constantly been at overcapacity in dealing with the massive influx of migrants crossing illegally into the United States. When this happens, Border Patrol releases processed migrants to NGOs to shelter and feed migrants and coordinate their travel to their final destination. John Martin, Deputy Director for the Opportunity Center for the Homeless, explains.
Once received, whether it be the adult population or the families, the sites will then work with them, and the general term that we use is we go through a processing. That processing is to facilitate travel to the destination of their choice.
NGOs receive billions of taxpayer funds through several federal departments like the Homeland Security and the Health and Human Services. According to Forbes, the NGO Catholic Charities USA received $1.4 billion from government support, compared with $1 billion in private donations. Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service reported more than $93.1 million in U.S. government grants in their 2021 financial statement, making taxpayer-funded grants more than 80% of its total support. And that number would only climb, as the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service would receive $182.6 million in grants in the fiscal year 2022.
Wow.
And this year, NGOs did
Yeah,
face
I
scrutiny
mean,
from the
this
Department-
is so. It's basically like Ukraine, but on a smaller scale.
They're just pumping money down a big old pipe.
Right.
And somebody's drinking from the fire hose of all that cash somewhere along the line.
No, exactly. And when you look at Springfield, Springfield's a very small town. All right.
Yes.
So it has very limited resources. It doesn't have that many people there. So therefore, there's not a lot of tax revenue that's going in. So in order to support something like this, you're going to have an NGO or the federal government put their ties in, or both, right? They have to come in and they have to give money to special groups in order to make these things happen, because they don't just sprout up out of nowhere. Like, things have to be in place already. You have to have housing, you have to have food, you have to have the ability to move them around. Like, all of this costs money. So our question is, where is this money coming from? And then once it gets to the destination, how is it dispersed?
Right. And even before all that, like, how did these, like, some people are wondering about the migrants or the people from, I don't even call them migrants, because they haven't chosen to do this. Like, usually you think of migration, like, people want to go somewhere. Like, yeah, I get some of these people want to come here, but I don't think they wanted to get here the way they did. Because if you go back and you look at the history of Haiti, it has been torn up from the get-go. If you even go back to the early 1900s, they were paying reparations to France up to like 46 or 47. Right. Yes. Black people were paying reparations to white people. Say it again. Black people were paying reparations to white people, and not for the reason you want it to be. It's
Where's the
because
outrage?
they were paying reparations, and this is bad. This is awful because it was because of their independence. They got their independence, and France said, "You hurt our economy by not being slaves anymore. You owe us money."
Mm-hmm.
And they actually were able to do that. That makes no sense to me. It's horrifying, but it's real history. So that's the first start of it, and then over the course of years, they've just been continuously messed with outside forces, and Haiti and the Dominican Republic are one island that's separated, if I do believe correctly.
It's like 1/3 and 2/3.
And I've met guys from the Dominican Republic. They don't like the Haitians. They don't like the Hondurans. They don't like, because the Dominican Republic is more like people like us. They've actually had opportunities to become a U.S. state. The Dominican Republic has, but they choose not to. There's reasons for it, but it'd be like, come on, be 52. It's fine. And then let's just annex Haiti and like make it actually legit, because we could fix that. If it was actually U.S. soil, we could just fix it, but it would be rough, because then all the people in Haiti could just go everywhere in the state, because we have reciprocity of travel. So there's other things like that. So instead of them doing those things, which I get, there's a lot of more to it, and there's a lot of people pulling their hair out and screaming at the camera, going at the thing, going, no, it doesn't work that way. Just let me cook. So Haiti, these guys have been granted temporary protected status because of a convergence of these catastrophic events, like the big earthquake that happened and the political instability, right? After the devastating earthquake in 2010 and the loss of life, we initially provided TPS to the Haitians already in our country, recognizing that they could not safely be repatriated back home. They could not go home, right? Cool. Natural disaster back home. It's awful. Things are getting fixed. You're here outside of your power. I'm good with that for a hot second, right? But because of the ongoing issues and the assassination of their president and the gang violence, like, it has never got better. So with all of that, so not just the natural disasters, and then also the security concerns, kidnappings, killings, lawlessness, things like Port-au-Prince, those have been an issue all the way up. And so additionally, then the Biden administration expands the TPS, the temporary protective status, that eligibility, in a way that doesn't just cover Haiti. It's other countries too. So let's not think that we're just focusing on one group of people. That's an acute situation, but it's a wider problem because of the Biden administration. It was part of this border policy to offer refuge not only from environmental, but also from countries with unrest and conflict. So now this decision and redesignation of TPS Haitians is now goes all the way to February of 2026. So this reflects on the ongoing recognition of Haiti's inability to handle the return of its nationals safely, providing them with legal permission to live and work here temporarily, although it does not give them permanency for residency. They don't get a pathway to becoming citizens. So that brings us to an article from The Guardian. I don't know if you have that Guardian article up.
I actually do. Let's get into it.
Since we have,
Yeah, so right here. This is from, so we have to go way, way back in order to understand, like, what's going on here, and especially with a lot of the issues that island has had over the past couple of decades, especially with, natural disasters and independence and all that other stuff. So this is from, excuse me, The Guardian. Haiti and the failed promise of U.S. aid. After the earthquake struck in 2010, the U.S. pledged to help rebuild the Caribbean country. A decade later, nothing better symbolizes the failure and the efforts that the story of a new port was promised but never built. Now, I know the port was something that was supposed to be very important, but it goes way deeper than that. I'll explain. When Bill and Hillary Clinton traveled to the Caribbean nation of Haiti as newlyweds in 1975, they were enchanted. Bill had recently lost a race of Congress back at home in Arkansas, but by that time they had returned to the U.S. and had set his mind running for Arkansas State Attorney General, a decision which would put him on the path to the White House. We had a deep connection to and with Haiti ever since, Hillary said. Over the next 4 decades, the Clintons became increasingly involved in Haiti, working to reshape the country in profound ways. As U.S. president in the 1990s, Bill lobbied for sweeping changes to Haiti's agriculture sector that significantly increased the country's dependence on American food crops. In 1994, 3 years after the military coup in Haiti, Bill ordered the U.S. invasion that overthrew the junta and restored the country's democratically elected president to power. 15 years later, Bill was appointed the United Nations Special Envoy to Haiti, tasked with helping the country develop its private sector and invigorate its economy. But by 2010, the Clintons were 2 of Haiti's largest benefactors. Remember that. The personal philanthropic fund, the Clinton Foundation, had 34 projects in the country focused on things such as creating jobs.
So the Clinton Foundation's got their fingers in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I do believe they got busted trying to smuggle kids out at one point, and they have had their fingers in all kinds of stuff. Anywhere there's quote humanitarian aid, all over, and they don't do a good job. They really don't. They fail, and so like the thing is, like, this country basically fell apart for every single reason. Hey, thanks, Fox. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying to do a little bit of real journalism when we put this stuff together. It happened to be in my backyard.
Exactly.
And I care. You know, I'm not about to go poop in my own backyard, and if someone else has, I'm going to go find out who did it. So, kind of that kind of thing. There wasn't a whole lot of local engagement either. The farming, when they wanted to deal with agriculture and stuff, they took farmers and made them industrial. They put them in industrial projects instead. They basically did direct. I could make a big argument about what they did and directly tie what they did to Haiti to communism. When they did, what they did is they went in and they said, what's all the resources? Who's all the people? Where are they at? And they just took everything that was and said, forget how it should work in the natural scheme of things. We're just going to redesignate everybody. We're just going to micromanage everything. And it completely fell apart.
Right. No.
And then and so the Haitians that are here, from what I heard from some people in Springfield when I was talking to them, they do not like that name. They do not like the Clinton name at all. They hate it. Some of them are here just to take advantage of us, of our, all this cash and all these things, and not even put back in. They don't have a lot of these people don't have the same concept that we do of what America is and what this big thing is. So this is somebody that so she says L. Silsby worked for Clinton and Obama, caught trying to smuggle kids across the Haitian border, said they were orphans, putting them on planes to the U.S. They weren't orphans. That's crazy. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about right there. Mm-hmm. And whoever you are, YouTube user, let's get to the Discord and let's talk about
the description
stuff.
below.
Description below. If you've got info and you're about this, let's go.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the thing on the Haiti front over there, and what the temporary protected status is, and but a little bit more about Springfield, and let's get down to kind of where that's the foundation. We've laid the foundation for Springfield and their particular acute situation. They are in Clark County, which is very much it's kind of emblematic of that historical vibrancy and the economic challenges that come from being a Rust Belt town. I'm from one myself. They were founded in 1801. They grew from their origins as a frontier settlement into a manufacturing hub. Same here. We've got if you go to some of the parks here in my town, there's log cabins and forts and things that are left over. Some of them have been relocated and rebuilt, but they're there. But we were all shaped by the Industrial Revolution and the that big boom of being able to do rapid manufacturing. We were the backbone of the Civil War. We were the backbone of many wars up through with our ability to manufacture and not just that, but we also have agriculture too. So it's a town nestled in the midst of like cornfields and soy and all that stuff too. But much of like the rest of the Rust Belt, Springfield went through severe economic downturns, deindustrialization from when, the mid 20th century, manufacturing jobs went overseas, they were lost to automation, leading to significant drop in median incomes, rise in poverty rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They went from like 60,000 people. Well, they're at 60,000 people right now in like 2020 census, but I think their peak was 80,000 in 1960s, which now is back to almost that with the Haitians. So we'll get into why that's important as well. But why should we care about this little small town that's basically, there's nothing notable. Really, we're small town people. We try to keep to ourselves. We like to live our lives and do our jobs and go home, raise our families. This issue has been simmering for the last few years, and it's finally come to a boil, right? And the only reason most people are talking about it is because, let's be honest, the news is raining cats and dogs on a particular subject matter. Okay?
Right.
So, and there's credibility and merit to some of that. There's been some stuff that has been looked into, and there's a handful of situations. And even when I was there, I didn't see anything particularly that was like, oh, that looks like somebody skinned a carcass. I know about skinning carcasses. There's one hanging on the wall behind me. I shot that myself. Okay, took it to the taxidermist, and he did up my skull real nice. So anyway, thing about it is people were offering up the conversation. Independent people I was talking to, whether they were saying, oh yeah, I've had police conversations with the police. I overheard a conversation that two other people were having. Hey, there's journalists here in town. Is that spot there with all the bloody stuff still there? And it sounded like there was a dump where somebody had been dumping carcasses, and I heard over the phone on the other end, kind of loud and quiet. It was like, nah, that's all cleaned up and gone now. And they're like, dang. So these people know that there's other things going on in their town because they live there all the time. But that's only a symptom of other things. Haitians bring voodoo, they bring their religion, they bring their culture. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. But it's still not the underlying corruption that's drinking from the fire hose of government funds. But where do we start to find it? Okay, so I replied to your email and I think I can, if you could bring up those notes I sent you to the reply to your notes you sent me, go down to where we talk about this Carl Ruby. He's a local pastor. And if I need to bring up some things on my end, I will too, because I can do that. So, but this Carl Ruby, he's got a church, I'll bring up his bio here on his church website.
I can here.
I want you on the back end just in case I can't get. So this Carl Ruby, right? And I'm gonna zoom in, and we're gonna start reading about Carl Ruby. You're gonna start to hear some things that maybe you've heard before. So he came to Central. So Central is the church. This is Central Christian Church. They're just south of Springfield. He's a very well-known pastor. You look him up, you can find all kinds of news articles on him. I'm going to give you some. I came to Central in 2013 after a career in higher education. They're proud parents, daughters, they're grandparents to children. Mm-hmm. He's been around for a while. Carl is very involved in the community as a spokesperson on a variety of social justice, and is particularly passionate about welcoming immigrants to the community, Prior to becoming the pastor, he was part of the Evangelical Immigration Table, a group advocating for comprehensive immigration reform that respected the human dignity of immigrants. His hobbies include hiking and other outdoor activities. Okay, so we already know he's woke, social justice.
Right.
Okay, that's the first nail in the coffin. All right, so the Evangelical Immigration Table, if I bring that up, this next one, this guy, yeah, I'm gonna flip to this website. This is their principles. Now they are a global. This stuff sounds very, very like, okay, if you're just a standard everyday churchgoer kind of person. National immigration laws have created a moral, economic, and political crisis. Initiatives to remedy this crisis have led to a polarization and name calling, which opponents have misrepresented each other's positions as open borders and amnesty versus deportations of millions. So you can see, so he's already saying, okay, here's the two extremes. We actually know the way. We're the third way. So this is a third wayism. And if you don't understand what third wayism is in history of politics, third wayism is one of those things where it's like, okay, there's all these there's these two factions, but we're not those. There has never been, especially in the World War II era, a third wayism that actually functioned properly. It's usually a third. Anyone claiming to be third way is really just hiding under something, right? They're hiding behind some flowery language, and they're hiding in the midst of things, and that's what this Evangelical Immigration Table is.
You forced me to get my glasses out now. Now I have to read all.
I'm trying to get it zoomed in for the viewers.
There we go.
But here's the things they say. Respects God-given dignity of every person, protects the unity of immediate family, respects the rule of law, guarantees secure national borders, ensures fairness to taxpayers, establishes a path toward legal status or citizenship for those who qualify and wish to become permanent residents. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of talking points that have been brought from both sides, right? So the right wing, so every Christian and every person, I don't care who you are, if you believe in God and you're in that realm, God-given dignity of every person, made in the image of God, I'm with you, right? Protects the unity of the immediate family. Okay, that gets your middle and right wingers, your conservatives, right? Respect the rule of law. I don't think that's a platitude. Everyone says that. Guarantees secure national borders. That's a right-wing issue. Ensures fairness to taxpayers. Okay, well, it depends on what you mean by that, and I don't think that's true considering there's a lot of tax money that's coming down the pipeline, and I don't think it's very fair when you've got immigrants that have the kind of cash they're getting, and we'll talk about that. So I don't think it's being very fair where they're at. And establishes a path toward legal status or citizenship for those who qualify to become permanent residents. That's a left-wing platitude because they want anybody who comes into this country to be able to become a citizen for, it doesn't matter how you got here, right? So you've got stuff that sits right, you got stuff that's in the middle, and you got stuff that sits to the left. and so there's that. Now, this group is connected to other evangelical, middle-of-the-road, they try to seat themselves in the middle just so they can get all the donations that are global, that kind of thing. So he's a part of that. But the one that caught my eye is he's also a part of a group called Forward.us. And here's an article about this pastor. Now, so Carl Ruby, director of Welcome Springfield. We'll talk about Welcome Springfield in a second. Says there's more than border security is needed to deal with immigration challenges. They've got a little clip here. What's this little clip? Can I play this clip? No, it's not going to let me play this clip. Anyway, he wants to, at one point, this is 2017, he announced plans to form an Ohio arm of the group Forward.us. Forward.us was founded by Mark Zuckerberg. And if anybody,
really?
Yes, if anybody has guilt for his privilege, it's all these silicon bigwigs that got too rich for their britches and felt bad about it and didn't have anything else that they could figure out what to do with it but to go straight into the social justice stuff. So, and this is from Dayton Daily News. So Carl Ruby wanted to form a wing of a local chapter of Forward.us, which was founded by Zuckerberg. Okay, this guy's left. This guy's straight left. But he's religious left, which is worse because he's very zealous about things and what his background is. So there's that. Now here we start getting into some of the things about the way he views immigration. So this is from the New American Economy. Okay. Pastor sees immigrants through the lens of Bible and the economy. We're getting down to the money now. Carl Ruby, a conservative Christian pastor at Central Christian Church in Springfield, Ohio, believes that immigration reform is a civil rights issue, and it was a lesson he learned decades ago when he first read Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. I saw that it was an issue that white conservative Christians could be tackling. See, he's trying to claw at the conservative right and appeal to their religious senses, which is fine. If you're going to make a real biblical argument for something, you shouldn't treat people like crap, but you should also, respect the whole of the people, which is not happening. They're not respecting the people that live in Springfield with all this is going on.
Right.
So he was an administrator and a dean at Cedarville University. He joined the Birmingham Immigration Forum, another immigration thing. He led a group called Bibles, Badges, and Business, a 3-state initiative that brings together conservative clergy, law enforcement, and local businesses to formulate policy recommendations around immigration reform. Bibles, Badges, and Business. Business. Always the money. Follow the money. Okay?
Every single time.
It says churches, the police, and local business owners are in a position to really see the changes within their communities and to see the driving forces behind those changes, he says. We're a nation of immigrants, always have been. We need to recognize they are an asset, not a liability. Asset, money. Okay? More money. So some of these things that the New American Economy talks about is they account for 3% of the population of Ohio's 8th congressional district, Clark County, and a couple other ones. But they yield spending power of $564 million.
Wow.
This was 2017. To $546.5 million that they have in spending power. All right, more money. That's just
in this county.
That's just in that that district, which it's mostly that county and a little bit of other ones. Sometimes districts are weird the way they budge them. So Springfield population has declined to its lowest in 50 years, with an average of 5 people leaving every year in search of better opportunities. So what this article is talking about is going down through all the different things about what they're doing to revitalize this area by importing bodies to do work and to scrape off every single dollar they possibly can that comes from the federal government through the support programs. Okay, it talks about the English speech language classes, common education, advocacy services. There's a lot of complaints from the locals there about adult males being in freshman high school classes. That's happening. So, but they have a partnership with a national organization called Welcoming America. It's an umbrella of nearly 100 welcoming cities across the country. Quote, the community has received us very well, says Ruby. So he's saying they have a lot of local support, but their local support is mostly because he has the ends with people in the local government. So they lost their mayor not that long ago. The former mayor that was there from the time that Ruby started this thing that was with Welcome America. It was called Welcome Springfield. Okay, it was, and so this was an initiative. I have a link here. I'm going to pull up an X account from this guy. This guy, K. Anderson. Okay, so he's replying to Krasenstein today. And it says here that he's a full-blown globalist, talking about Carl Ruby. who worked to orchestrate the inclusion of Springfield, Ohio into a globalist immigrant welcoming organization like Welcome Springfield and Global Great Lakes. That's one I have yet to look into deeply enough, but yeah. So shout out to Christopher Anderson. You're in Springfield. I don't think you're listening right now, but I'm going to try to get a hold of you because you're local to me. He's Akron. He's not far from me.
That's good.
But yeah, this is resolution 5844, and down here at the bottom, he's got it marked. City of Springfield, Ohio joins joins cities like Dayton and Columbus that have formed a voluntary network of immigrant-friendly communities called the Global Great Lakes and Welcoming America. So, and he's got both pages of it where it's signed, the date, July 22nd of 2014. This starts in 2014, but it's not about Haitians. It's about Latin groups. Yeah, we haven't got to Haiti yet. This is 2014. This is not 2010. I mean, it's after the Haitian thing's happening, kind of, but they haven't got to the point where they're just getting out of there and being funneled in. But this was about Latin communities originally when I looked into it.
So this is kind of like the starting point here domestically, not necessarily internationally. They've already set the standards outside of that. So I'm guessing that if you were part of, because NGOs, I mean, they've been around, but they haven't really been called NGOs until as of late, right?
Well, a non-governmental organization, I think it's kind of on the nose a little bit to have to say we're not the government. It's kind of like saying I'm not a Fed.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's like that. And so an NGO is anything that is that partners with government that isn't technically government. Really is what that is. And so they have to say, oh, I am a non-governmental organization, but yet they act, excuse me, some pork rinds coming back to, but anyway.
I told you, bro.
It's a non-governmental organization works hand in foot with government agendas. They might as well be, they're part of that public-private partnership that groups like the World Economic Forum go on about when Klaus Schwab talks about those things. And really, what Carl Ruby is doing is he's doing exactly in Ohio what Rick Warren started doing in the early 90s. See, the WEF wanted to do this, not just the government and the business side. He wanted the third leg of the stool, which is religion. And Carl Ruby is one of these guys that's now taking that and he's pulling the circle back in and taking the leg of religion of the stool of society, and he's connecting it to the local government and the other businesses, the non-government stuff. So, and I'm going to eventually, because I hear the music coming up in the background, I want to wet your whistles a little bit on the back end with this last article here from Breitbart. Dude, this is coming from the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell, migration is rising Americans' unemployment rate. They're taking the jobs. They're not actually taking the jobs. The jobs are not being posted for American citizens to find them through the normal means, whether it's Indeed or LinkedIn, wherever you're finding listings. They're not. They're going through staffing agencies that are connected to the NGOs, that are connected to the housing, that are connected to all the stuff. And I'm telling you right now, Springfield has this going in spades. And there's one name that owns all three legs of this pipe to get it. They've got the NGO or the local nonprofit. They've got the staffing agency, and they've got the housing. And everybody's getting paid, even people in the local commission, the council, the mayor's office. Everybody's got a cut somewhere, but you're gonna have to wait till next week.
Absolutely. And before we go, when you talk about what's happening over in Haiti over the past couple of decades, when they're trying to build the ports so that they can build economic status or whatnot for themselves, and when all of that stuff fell through, what Skrapp's talking about is the white guilt. It's the we did our best, but we weren't able to come through. What's another way that we can do this? Well, let's go ahead and import them here into the United States, and let's go ahead and try to find something for them here. But we can't just bring them here and just start giving jobs away. Like, we're going to have to do this in some professional manner, in a way in which you don't really know about it. So I'm going to get to your point there, but there was also another post on X. But I want to kind of bring everything back together in one big picture, okay? So you go to another country, they have issues with their economic ties or trying to get jobs and things for people, to live prosperously or whatnot, whatever that is. So they couldn't do it there, so they bring them here and they start using our resources. Well, that has to come from somebody, and someone has to take the fall. Well, who's that person that takes the fall? Well, let me pull this up for you. This is Tyler Hansen. I know
Make
some
sure
of
you
you
share
guys,
your audio if it's got audio.
It should.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's got it right here. Yeah. So this is from Springfield, Ohio. He was actually there about 3 days before Skrapp went. And he said how the Haitian influx is affecting the homeless population. Single mother who is homeless with her child spoke on the situation. Well, let's hear what she has to say.
I stood there. I was right there. I met that guy in the orange shirt. I was there.
Oh, you did?
Not with him, but later. I was there later.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Homeless out here in Springfield, Ohio?
Yes, me and my baby both are.
How long have you been homeless for?
I've been here in Springfield since January, and I've been homeless the whole time.
The whole time?
Yep.
Okay. Do you feel like the Haitians or kind of the influx of the Haitian immigrants are taking away from resources that you could potentially have?
100%. 100%. Before they came here, we could get housing. Young single moms could actually afford to pay rent.
Yeah.
Now that they're here, $900 for a 2-bedroom? How is a young single mom supposed to pay that on top of her kid?
So
We got to fight for our money, our food stamps, our medical, everything. We got to fight for it, but they get to come here and just get it handed to them. That's not fair to my daughter. Not me, my daughter. That's taking from my baby, and I'm not okay with that. It has to end. Something has to be done. They're taking from our children, not us, our children, the future of our country, and that's not okay. I'm 100% not okay with that. It's 100% disrespectful to us. Granted, I respect the fact that you got a war going on, okay? You could come over here and respect our customs. Don't come here taking away from us. Respect it. Fight with us. If we got to fight for it, they should have to. Everything we got to do, they should have to abide by. Why? It's our country, our rules, our laws.
how is it being homeless out here with a child?
Very difficult. I struggle to provide everything. Yesterday, for example, I was struggling to just get her diapers to the point I was about to go steal them. That's how bad it gets.
Do you get any kind of government resources or anything?
I'm currently in the process of reapplying for food stamps, but again, even that for us is a fight because of these Haitians. We can't get these simple things because they're coming and they're taking it. They're getting it handed to them while our own country, before they got here, yeah, we were struggling, but them coming here, we're struggling more. How do we support another country when we can't even support our own? That's not fair to us. How's that right? How's that right to the future of our country? We gotta live in fear on a daily of our babies getting kidnapped because of the Haitians. Our kids can't even simply go play in the front yard no more without fear of them getting kidnapped. That's why you will never see that little baby anywhere but my side. I can't even let my kid be a kid and play without fear of them either getting kidnapped or hurt because of these Haitians. And that's not fair to my child.
That's wild. That's that, and I didn't get to meet her. I met a whole other group of homeless people. There's quite a few. It reminded me a lot of some places I've been in my own town.
Right.
I got a bunch of B-roll and stuff that I just haven't figured out how to put in a good format. I'm not a video guy. I want to eventually dump everything I have and let some of our more skilled video guys like go through it and put it all together, and maybe we can slop some clips from this here and make a full deal on it. But shout out to YouTube user in the chat.
I guess their name didn't show up for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's a permission thing.
It might be. So talking about Carl Ruby, Nehemiah Foundation, board member, city manager, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've seen that. I've looked into these. That's another one of those NGOs. Hey, yeah, she says, I think I have Discord.
Oh, nice.
And then they're at the intersection of 70 and 75. Yeah, it's human trafficking, drug trafficking. I'm the same way. I have the same kind of intersection where I'm at. That's been known for that. Oh yeah, and right across the street from that clip with Tyler Hansen, there's a soup kitchen. The crazy thing is, right next to the soup kitchen is a liquor store.
Of course there is.
Poor can't get a job. Soup kitchen, get a 40. Dude, those guys were drinking King Cobra on the stoop that day. I'm like, it's rough, man. When you're on the street and you're drinking King Cobra on the street, like, I understand there are some people who King Cobra is the equivalent of to certain palates as Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Old English.
Old
English. I know people know about Old English.
Yeah. So there was some. It was a sight. It reminded me of home. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel everywhere I walked and I ever went, any business I walked into, I knew what I was getting into because Ohio, we're the same. But yeah, we're gonna put some people on blast next week. Where I have facts, I'm gonna drop them, and where I have speculative opinion, I'm gonna make sure I say it's speculative opinion and what I don't have in. I'm gonna. But when you start to see the connections and the conflict of interest, and who's sucking from the fire hose to the tune of millions of dollars, yeah, it's gonna get spicy next week. Springfield, absolutely. My friends in Springfield who are watching and get a hold. I'm gonna be talking to some of you again this week, and maybe I'll come visit again on my day off. Who knows? We'll set something up for Monday. Let's go.
And if you've got information, join our Discord. It's in the Rumble description below. I dropped it in the chat in YouTube as well. But also, again, we have a webpage now to help us spread the word. We need your contributions. So please donate. If you want us to go out to these areas and to get you the right information, help us out. We will not disappoint you under any circumstance. We did a lot of Skrapp did a lot of work. I ended up helping him out, getting him out there, and figuring out what's really going on, like what's the purpose of all of this. But apparently it's a lot bigger than we can imagine. So anything that you guys can give will help us out, will put us in a position where we can go out there and get the news for you, so that you can make the right decisions about what information is credible and what isn't. So but we definitely appreciate you guys, and we're doing the best that we can with the time that we have. He and I, we have families as well, so we have to support them. So there's a PayPal link right there. If you guys want to go and help us out, we'll make sure we make it right for you.
Come to the Discord. Come get
Yes.
to know us. We'll get to know you.
We're there all
Yeah, we're working stiffs. We're driving around in our, doing our thing, or we're working from home. You see me working here. You see me working where I work. I do other
pretty
things,
much.
So, but get a hold of us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Roma. Or AK.
No, AK.
Thank you,
That's
AK.
right.
We call him Roma in the background because that's how we met him.
You can call me
That was
Roma. You can call me AK. Either one.
my favorite guy.
My favorite guy. That's right. So, but again, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll have an update for you next week. Peace.